You are now in tune to the Keys to the City podcast.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back another edition of Keys to the City with the trio. I'm your host, Trevor Keys, alongside the big brother T3, Ted Keys, and the Joseph Aguirre. Guys, we have finally made the halfway point. But you can check out Keys to the City on all social media platforms at Keys to the City. So subscribe, comment, like, or share. Like I said, we just got finally to the halfway point. I just got to say a couple things first, because it got me frustrated last night. I had to vent out my frustration to Joe last night, because how the hell does the ESPY for the best MLB player? I know, I get it. He's a fascinating player and everybody's infatuated with him. But Shohei Ohtani was not the best player in baseball last year. I know Ted might think it, but there was a guy in the Big Apple that just broke the AL record. That's been a long record overdue that hasn't been touched. And guess what? He doesn't win best player in baseball because, the MVP of the AL too on top of it, and he still didn't win. It's funny. The infatuation we have nowadays.
I told you it's voted on by the fans, bro.
Well, the fans are clueless nowadays.
No, they're not.
Clueless.
No, it's not. It's who the fans want. It's who the
We
fans
have clueless.
want.
I know, because everybody's infatuated because they're all the kids now.
Just because Judge won the MVP doesn't make him the best player.
He is the best player, and this year points to it as well. I know Joseph's looking like he doesn't agree. He doesn't agree. I got you. But this year as well points to the fact that Aaron Judge.
Don't forget we also have a moment where Judge has been hurt. If Judge was staying,
Aaron Judge should still be in the top 3 for MVP in the AL.
If Judge was healthy, I think he'd be up for consideration. But this is one of those kind of, sorry, Mike Trout, you got pushed to the side, and Ohtani's going to be the MVP.
Joe's been waiting to hear that day.
I'll tell you what, I think you guys kind of are both right on this. Part of the problem is ESPN.
Well, all social media, FS1. There's no non-sports that doesn't jump on the Ohtani bandwagon.
ESPN's the worst.
Yes.
To me, they're the worst. I mean,
but they do it with Mahomes, and I get it. Mahomes is incredible too. But
Steph
Curry,
they do it with Curry
too.
That, right? I mean, again, and I've said this before. Look, Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in football, no doubt about it.
He's the best player in football.
Is he going to Canton? I think it's still a little early to make that determination.
Joe, he's going to the Hall of Fame.
He probably is, but he's also only been in the league for 6 years. I don't know anybody who's got 6 years worth of stats that's in Canton. Is all I'm saying.
According to Colin Cowherd, Andrew Luck's going to the Hall of Fame too.
Sure, yeah, because he's never wrong about anything. Look, there's a certain degree of hype. Listen, not for nothing, but the ESPY they gave out last night was for last year. It's not up to the last second of the night. So you could say, hey, look, Ohtani's hitting 300 this year. He's got 30 homers at the break. He's looking great. Okay, but that's not what we're voting on. We were voting on what happened last year. And Trevor's right. The best player in all of baseball was Aaron Judge.
Absolutely.
And I think to what Trevor was also saying, you see how bad the Yankees are right now without Aaron Judge. You were just saying, Ted, right? 2.5 less runs per game when he's not in the lineup. That speaks to the tremendous value that guy brings, not only with the home runs and the great defense, but he's an on-base machine. He hit 311 last year. So, again, it's not like
Aaron Judge, incredible for what he does in the field, too.
We compare him a lot to Giancarlo Stanton. He's clearly a much better player than Stanton was, even in Stanton's prime, which was about 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And look, I like that Ohtani pitches. He's a pretty good pitcher. Would he be a better hitter and a better player if he wasn't pitching? Probably. Would the Angels be where they are if he was not pitching? Yes. They'd be in exactly the same spot, maybe a little worse off, but not much. So I don't think that they're getting anything out of the second part of Ohtani. I think it's all stats and hype.
I feel like his impact, though, and I know we're not trying to make this about the Ohtani Judge thing, but I feel like his impact is lost on the Angels. I feel like if he was on a different team, his impact would be felt in a greater.
And I think Judge's impact around baseball or the Yankees franchise as a whole goes unnoticed too.
I agree with that because I think Judge being on the Yankees specifically makes
Dude,
his
don't you remember
value.
they come out of a huge series against the Dodgers. They win the series. They look like they're starting to heat up. Aaron Judge is playing out of his mind. The team's starting to feel, gel itself, it seemed like. And look how awful it's been. And to make things matters worse, 3 of the biggest stars of last night's home run derby are all represented in the AL East. Randy Arozarena, Adley Rutschman, Ted, you almost got me there. But my boy Luis Robert Jr. And the winner, Vlad Guerrero Jr. But you know how great ESPN is? They said he was the second-born Cuban player. He's Dominican. Way to go, ESPN.
Racist.
Yeah, shit happens.
Shit. But to make
listen,
last night,
their brain was like a
not
Ferrari.
named Julio. There it
It
is.
went too fast.
I still have it. I still have the legendary. I have a brain like a Ferrari. I'll never get rid of that. That will forever be there.
Yeah,
But
no,
3 of the 4 biggest stars last night at home run derby were all in the AL East. And then Julio Rodriguez breaking the record, most home runs in the home run record in the sense of one round.
Well, you also have a division which every team by All-Star break is above 500, which has never been done.
The AL East has been great. But us Yankee fans, we're not happy. We are not satisfied, especially the way that the season, the first half of the season ended. Losing a series to the Cubs, who I get it, they've been up and down this year, but you can't be losing a series like that. Just imagine being a Mets fan right now. But I'm not surprised. Being a Mets fan and being the New York Mets franchise, typical. That's why all you Jet fans.
Oh my God, give it up! I don't want to hear about it.
What's the matter with you? What are you?
You're annoying me
You're an Aaron Rodgers homer. That's the thing. You love Aaron Rodgers. You think the Jets are clearly the best. We get it. I get it. We get it.
I'm pissed off because
just put your LT LaDainian Tomlinson, your green
I'm pissed
Jet
off
jersey.
because I had the Yankees, the Mets, the Cardinals, the Dodgers winning the divisions.
And I'm talking, and what's crazy is that yes, we're talking about the Yankees and the Mets and how bad they've been and so inconsistent. There's other teams that have been just as disappointing. The Mets, the Cardinals. The Cardinals, I thought the Cardinals were going to be the NL Central winner. The Padres, the team that just forked over $1 billion in all their players, and they're in the bottom. Thank God for the Colorado Rockies, the White Sox, the Mariners. But let's talk about the New York teams. Let's talk about it. Because right now, both franchises, to think where the Mets are and to think where the Yankees are right now. I know everybody's like, the Yankees are 6 games over 500. Since when are the Yankees being 500 is give you a reason to be excited for the second half. You look at how bad it's been since Aaron Judge. We don't know when the big guy's coming back. We really do not know. We don't know if he's going to play this entire season. And if he doesn't, it's going to be a long second half. I think the drastic changes need to be made or something. Hey, guys, I do want to say, though, the Yankees are still going to make the playoffs. I'm not getting off that. They'll lose, but they'll get into the playoffs. Ted, when I hear Aaron Boone speak, when I hear him talk about every game, it really is reminiscent of the New York Giants 2 years ago in 2021. Oh my God, Joe Judge. Think about it. No, think about it. We just fired Dylan Lawson, the hitting coach. He's the scapegoat because the hitting's been so badly, so poorly.
Fire Jason
But
Garrett.
we also got to think about it. The Giants got rid of Jason Garrett because how bad the offense was. They're got to just look in the mirror, like I said, and say, there's a bigger problem. And you know what the perfect song for this is, Ted? I hope you guys can hear this, and you're going to love it because this is the type of team and what Aaron Boone I think of when he speaks. He's out of touch. He's out of touch.
But I don't know if he's out of time.
He's out of touch. No, he has no. Well, technically, depending on this contract, he still has time. But it's the perfect song. It's the perfect song. He's out of touch, just like it's like listening to Joe Judge, Joe. It's like listening to it's literally, we're getting better each week. Teams, everybody wants to play here. It's like the New York Yankees with Aaron Boone. Gleyber Torres. He hasn't had a lot of errors. Ted, Gleyber Torres, how many errors does he have?
9, leading all second basemen in errors.
He's out of touch with reality. This franchise is out of touch with reality.
His errors have cost the team games.
We cost the other day.
Sunday. Listen, whatever. We can bash the Boone thing and go into the Herman decision, whatever. I wanted to have Herman go in strong for the midseason report, the All-Star break. He wanted his bullpen to get some work in. They supposedly the bullpen's the best in the league. I don't know how, but whatever. But so you take out Herman, okay, whatever. He comes out for the 7th, 1 walk. You take him out like a typical Aaron Boone decision. Analytics say you don't want the guy going through the 3rd time to the lineup, but he's been dealing. But God forbid a pitcher wants to work through a tough situation, maybe get ready for the postseason, a situation to work through. But whatever, he takes him out, brings Tommy Kahlin, who's been really good, and we botch a double play, and then we get a base hit, and then next thing you know, it's like it's a domino effect.
But that's how it starts.
Listen, exactly. You can blame Boone, but if Gleyber Torres and Joe,
that's how it starts. You said the word domino effect.
If he
everything was meshing.
Just make the play. Make the play. Everything in the end of the inning.
But everything was gelling. Everything was going smoothly.
And then
Herman was pitching. And then what does he do? He's thinking too much again, and he uses that A word that we love to use, analytics.
The ball,
and bites him in the ass.
He's looking at second base instead of keeping his eyes down, focusing on the play and trying to get the guaranteed out at second. He gets the double play. We're not having this conversation. Yankees win.
Don't you remember when we were watching the Dodgers game, the Aaron Judge game too, when they were up 5-0? They took out Cole. He was wheeling and dealing. He could have gone a complete game. And what does he do? He takes him out, and then they go on a 3. They start hitting the crap out of him. This is the same situation.
No different than football, though, in 4th and 3, 4th and 1. Why are you going for it? You're in your own 40. Why didn't you? Or when you're on their 40, why didn't you try the field goal? Why didn't you go for it? Your offense is moving on. Nah, we wanted to punt. We wanted to pin them. We wanted to play defense. We were up 6. They come down and score. It's like, they scored anyways. You should have just. Listen, when it works out, no one says shit. When it doesn't work out, everyone's got something to.
But it's been too much over the past 5 years. It's been the same situation. Well, here's the thing: 5 years.
If DJ LeMahieu was playing second base where he should be playing, he possibly fields that ball like Joey says, and then we turn a 2. If Donaldson could hit the ball above 200, he's playing 3rd, and DJ's playing 2nd. And maybe Gleyber's a DH because Stanton needed a day off, because he doesn't have enough days off. I mean, here's the thing. Score more than 3 runs a game, and you don't worry about that. I mean, he averaged 6 runs a game, almost 5.8 runs a game when Judge was in the lineup. Since he's been out there, almost 2.5, 3 runs lower. So that's significant, bro. 1 run is like 7 points in the NFL, I feel like. Maybe 1.5 runs is like 7 points because that's usually what baseball spreads are. 1.5 when you look at it from a gambling perspective. And then when you look at football, it's like 6.5. So maybe 1.5 is the same as 6.5. But, one's the other. You got to score runs, bro. Score 12 runs. Who gives a shit? You score 2 or 3 runs, every play becomes that much critical. And when you're scoring 6 runs, Joe, I remember when we first started doing the show. Remember like CC, when we first started the show, CC was like giving up like 4 or 5 runs a game, but it didn't matter. The Yankees were scoring 7, 8 runs. Yeah, no one cared. No one knew his ERA was 4.3 because they're scoring 7. It was the craziest thing. Every time CC pitched, they give up 4 or 5 runs. Yankees score 7, 8, 9, 10. So,
but Ted, how long ago was that?
I mean, when we started the show. So
exactly my point.
Years?
It's been, and that's why I said the word for the perfect word, Joe, for this first half. I put a post on, and it's got a hell of a lot of feedback and a lot of people, a lot of disappointing Yankee fans. I get it, but the word for me was typical, Joe. It was just the same. It's just the same old story.
They also lead the MLB in IL player shirt.
Real quick,
typical
correction. By the way, the Yanks are 7 games over 500.
49 and 42.
Yes, sir.
49 and 42, which puts them for the second half on a pace of 39 and 32, which would be a record of 88 and 74. I don't love it. That doesn't feel like it's going to be enough. You sort of referenced the teams last night in the home run derby that finished ahead of the Yankees. You're talking about Tampa and Toronto and Baltimore. All those teams are ahead of the Yankees, as is Houston, by the way. And the Red Sox are just 1 game behind the Yankees,
which is incredible. I
mean, most people have written the Red Sox off completely for this season, and they're 1 game behind the Yankees.
Yeah.
So if you're writing off Boston, that 1 game makes that much of a difference. They've kicked
our ass, and they've kicked our ass this year. I don't care how I said it.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Joe, that's the problem. I mean, this is just like I said. This is They have to, and I've been saying this countless amount of times, they have to take a page out of the New York Giants, and they have to just, I don't know, just, I guess, overhaul, just throw everything out the window, all the bad karma and the bad garbage, and just throw it out and start fresh and new. Like, this is a time right now that both New York teams, because it's just not working. It's just not working. Listen, the Mets go in and overspend on Justin Verlander. You're relying on two guys who have had injury problems the past couple of years. I get it, a Hall of Famers, but have dealt with injuries for the past couple of years. You went all in on them, spending huge money on them, the highest payroll in all of sports. And look at where they're both at right now. Fans of both franchises, the franchises just look in the mirror and just say, it's not working. We have to drastically do something, because look at these teams right now, like the Texas Rangers. Look at these teams like the Baltimore Orioles, the Miami Marlins, the Cincinnati Reds. Like, all these teams are pulling a Houston Astros from the sense of building through the draft. And I get it. They're the Mets and the Yankees. They don't want to do that. That's never been their repertoire, their message. They never wanted to do that. But realistically, paying for all these high-priced guys, go ask the Padres how's that doing. Because right now, they're in fourth place with Xander Bogaerts, Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis, one of the most star-studded lineups in baseball, and they're in fourth place. And this was a team that just went to the NLCS a year ago. Take it away. Whoever wants to take it away. I'm done speaking for now.
So I want to disagree with something that you just said for a second, because, listen, if I'm the Mets, I got to blow it up. You go into the break 6 games under 500. You are 7 games out of the wild card, but you're also in the 7th position. So you've got to jump 5 teams to get into that wild card. And look, the Mets could go 36-36 the rest of the way. They've got 72 games remaining. That would bring them up to 78-84.
Wow.
There's no way that, I don't see a scenario where the Mets can make the postseason outside of if they play about.
Well, they're not. The division's already wrapped up.
Sure. Listen, they would have to play roughly 700 baseball in the second half to get anywhere approaching 90 wins in a wild card spot. So I think the Mets, I would seriously consider making moves in a month and offloading some of those guys, because that's a team that needs to blow it up. Look, if you're the Yankees...
Let me ask you both a quick question.
Go ahead.
Both of these teams don't make the playoffs. Showalter's definitely getting fired. Are the Yankees firing Aaron Boone? Are both managers, are they going to... if the Yankees don't make the playoffs...
I think they are.
The Yankees
I'll tell you right now, I think the fact that they fired the hitting coach...
Sean Casey.
I think that... Look, the Yankees haven't done that in, 20...
Cashman's never done it. Cashman's never fired a coach during the season ever.
Best friends with Boone too.
That.
Yeah, they were playing on Cincinnati Reds.
That tells you that this franchise is definitely changing the way they're going to go about things going forward.
They have to.
And so, yeah, I think if Aaron Boone misses the postseason, I think he's out.
That's it. What is it? Year 6?
See, I could see.
Is it year 6 and not 1?
I could see them
not even
making very internal changes.
Screw that, but it doesn't change anything. This is like what the Giants did with Gettleman, firing their coach, keeping Gettleman. It was a bigger overall problem. They had to go outside the box. Look what the Giants do after the first season. They go completely outside the franchise. What do? They go get a baseball. They go get Joe Shane, and then they go get Brian Daboll. And look, they made the playoffs. The New York Yankees got to do the same thing. The New York Yankees got to do the same thing.
Cashman was talking about them hearing some new voices, and maybe that would help. And so that tells me that, yeah, Aaron Boone's in trouble here if they don't make the postseason.
It's at least a discussion.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
I could use them as a discussion if Judge doesn't come back at all. Well, if we had Judge, you know what I mean, and God forbid someone else he can use the excuses like, give me a season of health. Look what I can do when this team is healthy. I can win 100 games.
But it's been the overall same thing. I get it. Aaron Judge, he'll come back, he'll change it up. But it's always been the same thing for the past 6 years.
Are we talking about Boone if Stanton has more than 7 home runs and hits the ball? Can Rizzo get a home run? Can DJ get any hit? He's striking out more than any time in his career. All the guys that we have kind of built our core on They are all shitting the bed, bro. I know the wording is probably bad use. They're playing like crap, bro. They are not playing good baseball. They're not hitting the ball well. They're not playing good defense. Honestly, the only thing that's kind of keeping us afloat with the life raft is pitching. And it's hard to really say that because we've seen such debacles. We've seen a 14-1 score.
Well, you mean specifically Garrett Cole.
We've seen Nestor have a 6.3 ERA for the first 2.5-3 months and been out. You just got Rodell back. Okay. So hopefully, like me and Joe and us, when we talked about 2-3 weeks ago, when we talked about it, hopefully Rendon comes back to somewhat of the guy that was last year. All right. Now you're talking about 1 and 2 ace. That can carry a team. All right. I don't know if anyone in that division has two better pitchers, 1 and 2. God forbid Severino gets anything better. I mean, that's another ace. At one time he was our ace, bro. Then you're talking Nestor. Hold on. Then you're talking Nestor. Then you're talking Herman, who's got a perfect game, just had a 1-hitter. If you put that all together with Schmidt, with the guys that already, you're only going to strengthen the bullpen. Schmidt will go to that long relief where Ramiro Mendoza used to be. Now you're only strengthening your pitching staff. The bullpen will be better. You'll be able to extend guys, use guys in better situations. And then, like we would say, it comes down to hitting. We got to score runs. You know what I mean? Whoever's in the lineup, doesn't matter. We can't use Judge as an excuse because I think we've kind of beat the point of one guy doesn't win baseball games.
Teddy, if you would have told me before the season started that Rondon would have made 1 start, Nestor would miss most of the first half, Severino would be a disaster.
7 ERA, yeah.
Right. If you told me Judge is going to miss most of the season, Stanton will miss a bunch of time, Donaldson will miss a bunch of time, Hicks will be so bad we finally cut him. If you told me all those things happen, but we'll also be 49 and 42 at the break, I would be like, okay.
Well, that's the thing. I think, I think we were trying to get at, and if we're just trying to have a Yankee discussion, just in generalization, and kind of do like a midseason report, that's what's kind of blasphemy and crazy in my mind is, as much as I feel like every time we go on the show, all we talk is negative Nancy about the Yankees, they're still right there. You know what I mean? Like
that's why I'm saying, Trev's idea of blowing it up, it's like, well,
they're not the
right in the mix. I mean, you could make the argument you got to blow up a whole bunch of these teams that are underperforming. You're not doing that. That doesn't make sense.
The Yankees, like we said, if the players that are currently constructed on this team can figure it out, and get it together, Trev, don't worry about it. It's usually me, so I'm glad it's you.
No, listen, no joke. Yesterday, Joe, I'll get when then we'll go back into
hold on.
Because all right, finish your point.
I just want to finish this, and then you get into discussion. And
then go ahead.
Facebook Live. So, Trev, what I was saying is like a kind of synopsis. Like, as much as we kind of bash the Yankees, I feel like every time all we do is talk Yankees, and when we do talk about the Yankees, it's most of a negative thing, right? We're either bashing Boone, we're talking about the hitting, the pitching, something. And once in a while, we then you kind of blast me and Joe like, we jumped off the Yankees bandwagon, and then they get hot, and they're like, oh, I told you so, because baseball's such a long season. But if you look at it this way, a one good week where like that week when you talked about when Judge came back and we had a roll, right? Or the week where we won like against Chicago White Sox and you won a couple like 5, 6, 7 games, you're like, oh, we're right there, right? We're second and third. We could jump Baltimore. We're probably not going to win the division. We probably could finish within that 1 or 2 spot in the wild card. You're like, all right, this is not a team to blow it up. All right, because we are 1 week away from being like, I just looked at the standings. Red Sox are 8-2 in their last 10. All right. Yeah. They just went from, whatever, halfway out of the playoff race, where now if you're a Boston fan, you're like, dude, we're another like couple weeks. We played the Yankees a couple more times. We're jumping the Yankees. Yankees are in last place.
We're buyers.
And we're
buyers at the deadline now.
So you look at it, and like Joe said, I think Joe put it there. When you look at all the situations, DJ's probably had his worst career or season in his career. And I'm not going to go through his whole career, but as a Yankees, he's had his worst season. Stanton's got 7 home runs, batting like whatever, 2 here. Donaldson's probably having his worst career. Rizzo, what's he got? No home runs in the last 2 months? So
Rizzo hasn't hit a home run since Cincinnati.
Like Joe said, Nestor's out for 2 months. Rendon hasn't only pitched 1 time. Severino has an ERA of 7. Bullpen's been shaky. Glaber's, 1 week he's great. Next minute you want to fire him. So it's like when you put it all together, think about this. And when you kind of laugh about the Mets, you think about how this Yankee season has gone. We're still 7 games above 500, and we're still in that wild card position where you think we were really the Mets. We're 18 and a half out of the division, 12 out of the wild card, and like we have no chance.
But that's
we
the
still
thing.
have a chance, and that's what's crazy. Is
That's the
considering
thing,
our
though.
division is all above 500, all have winning records, all have plus run differential.
But Ted, that's where you're wrong right there. Is that you would think we're the Mets. The Mets,
but we're not the Mets.
But
We're
listen,
right there.
I know, but listen, it's like very similar with the Jets. There's a reason why these franchises haven't won, and the Jets
I
it
don't
hasn't
give-
been
I
since
don't care about the Mets. I care about the
1969,
Yankees.
and the Mets. But the Yankees, whenever we become the team that we're just satisfied being 7 games over 500, where you're just like, yeah, I'm satisfied. This is it. And you also made a point before. My computer literally just restarted as I was about to speak. No joke. It just went, oh, we caught a problem. We got to restart. I'm like. Yesterday, we tried to do a Facebook Live, and it took forever because Facebook, typical, Mark Zuckerberg's getting scared of Elon Musk. That's why. But what I was going to say is, you said Luis Severino. You're hoping he gets back to ace stuff. That's the thing. He's not getting ever back to
but
that.
here's the thing. He
We're
has
still
to stop.
we are still living, and we're seeing that it's 2018 again. That was the highest of highs we're going to get with the New York Yankees right now. That 100-win team, we thought that they were going to compete with the Red Sox for a World Series that year, and they got beat. And Aaron Boone has been making bonehead decisions, like when he took out his boy, Joe's boy, Miguel Andujar, because he wanted to play defense. He wanted to think smart defensively, and I get it. It's been literally in front of us on a silver freaking platter of the same old story for the New York Yankees in this franchise. That's why I'm not surprised by the Mets. I'm stunned that the Mets are this bad. Like, they're this bad because of the sense of what they went out for. That Cohen has been, I want to buy my way a championship. I'm stunned that the Mets are actually 7 games under 500. The Yankees, I'm not, because it's been the same old story since 2018, Joe.
Listen, I get what you're saying. I don't think anybody, you are suggesting maybe we're happy with the way things are. We're not. But again, like Teddy was saying, and what we were saying while you're gone is, you look at all the issues the Yankees are dealing with, and the fact that they're 7 games over 500, and the fact that they're still in the thick of things. It's not a great spot to be in, but they could also be 7 games under 500, and they could be 15 games out of the wild card, and we'd be having a much different conversation right now, and we'd be right. So here's the problem. To me, going forward, second half, and this is what I said to you a few weeks ago, and they went on that little mini run, and they looked like they were turning things around. I don't see it happening again. And if it is, it's another week or two. I don't see them sustaining 3 months worth of high quality baseball where you're jumping Baltimore and you're jumping Toronto and you're jumping Houston I don't see how
Texas,
that's going to happen.
Seattle. But the whole season has just been like this. It's been a roller coaster. It's
unless the Yankees go out and they need an
make a splash.
Outfielder.
They
need to get somebody in the vein of if you go back to 99, the David Justice trade, one of the best trades the Yankees ever made.
So who is that? What is that move, Joe?
I don't know who it is, and I don't know what you're going to give away to get it, but they need something of that magnitude because this offense is terrible. And even when Judge comes back, they're still going to need a Robin to his Batman. And who is that? You could hope it's Stanton. I watched Stanton hit 2 bombs on Saturday.
It's Bader.
Maybe it's Bader. Bader could go on a run and get super hot. To me, they need another outfielder running. Connor Falefra has been fantastic lately.
But he's a utility player.
Hasn't really hit. The defense has been there. You need a real outfielder. And unfortunately, Aaron Hicks is no longer available.
Joe, you know who? I sent Trevor a thing yesterday, and you know how Yankees love guys, fathers or people had former connections to the Yankees. Some guy, I believe he's on the Cubs. Lefty, played for the Dodgers.
Clay's kid,
Mr. C-Bell, baby.
Can play any of the 3 outfield positions. Bless you. Got a cannon for an arm as a defensive guy. Can play left field. Can play center. Can play right field. He's athletic. He's a lefty at bat. He's having a pretty good season. I know it's only a 3-month rental, so you might not be able to have to give up as much as you would for, say, someone who's got more years on the books. But it's like Clay Bellinger was a vital piece to the Yankees as a utility facet, similar to what IKF can be for the Yankees.
And he wouldn't be too expensive.
So
whereas if you did have to go after Soto, like Ted, like you said, it's going to be too expensive to go after Soto.
Here's the thing. For the
and
Padres,
for a rental, possibly.
I mean, for like Soto, if you're the Padres, listen, you can get take it now where his value is at high. I mean, I don't know what you do with the Padres. I don't care what the Padres do. I'm worried about the Yankees. I think the pitching could be fine. All right. Now that you got Rodon back, now the guys can move around. I think the pitching will be fine, especially if Nestor comes back. Now you just added like 2 all-star pitchers to a lineup. Now, the only hope I can look at is opposite seasons. Go back to last season. We started really good up until All-Star break, and then we kind of faded. Maybe we can have that opposite trajectory where, listen, we can't play as bad as we had in the first half, and the injuries and things that have occurred can't continue. Something has, like a yin and a yang, something has to come our way. So I know the Judge factor is huge, but maybe getting those 2 pitchers back, maybe making a move like a Bellinger and getting those 2 aces, maybe we can ride a streak. Get hot late in August. Judge comes back late August, gets healthy enough in September. Yankees get on somewhat of a roll. Doesn't have to be great, just something to get in the playoffs. And then this as a baseball fan, as much as the better teams win in a long series, if you got a Cole and Rendon and Nestor in your first three guys going in, and then God forbid the Yankee lineup is hitting, you got a good chance of doing something in the playoffs. Will it happen? We won't know until it happens, and we won't know if they make the playoffs. But at least there is hope going forward, whereas we started the conversation, and we always joke about it because it's like the redheaded stepchild. We joke about the Mets. They don't have any hope. And I don't know as a Mets fan where you can look at positivity, because if it doesn't go this year, your 2 starting aces, they're not getting younger. They get older.
They're going to retire soon.
So, and you start playing that game, you're like, damn, we went all in, and we might really have to blow this whole thing up and start fresh. And I don't want to look at, as a Met fan, and feel bad for those guys. You want them success.
I don't feel bad for Met or Jet fans because they talk too much and they haven't done shit.
I don't hear any Met fans talk, so I don't know what Met fans
Mets fans are very obnoxious.
Yankee fans are the worst, though. Let's be honest. Yankee fans have got to be the most obnoxious fans. And we can say that because we're Yankee fans. But
not delusional like Mets fans.
Well, except for
Mets
trade.
fans are more
trades, Joe. Let's trade Donaldson,
that's just stupidity.
Yeah. Mets fans are like Cowboys fans. They're Jet fans. Always overvalue their team. They always.
What's that Disney song? He's got high hopes.
There you go.
From a Goofy movie. He's got high hopes.
The problem with Yankee fans is we're never realistic, and we don't appreciate what we have when we have it.
And we're sore losers.
But Joe, you just said it best. Doesn't that start from the top?
Yeah,
like Cashman and
but I don't think that organization has the same mindset, Trev, as Yankee fans. Because if they did, when they interview, now listen, maybe this is a new era, Trev. We just talked about the Pat Fitzgerald thing, but we live in a new era where maybe we live in an era where we can't punish our kid, we can't spank him on the ass, we can't call out our players because they might pout and cry and want to quit. So
that's what
we live in a different world. So maybe we can't live in a world where George Steinbrenner is going to come down the thing and say, Joe, you suck. If you play like that again tomorrow, we're firing you. I will come in the thing and say you're done.
Well, first of all, me and Joe wouldn't be on the Yankees right now because we have beards.
That's hilarious. Look, by the way, the Yankees from 1981 until 1995, where George Steinbrenner was at his most erratic, they were awful.
Yes.
So for all those, if George was here, things didn't go great when George was here. So let's stop that BS right now.
It wasn't until he hired that guy. I'm drawing a blank.
Gene Michael.
It was Gene Michael, and it was literally when he was suspended from baseball that Gene Michael put everything in motion to make the dynasty of the late 90s happen. So let's be clear.
Drafted all those guys.
Everybody loves George, but let's be honest. George Steinbrenner's style was a failure in the 80s as well. So
Gene
enough
was
of
the
that
master
nonsense.
behind it all. He was
But
master.
here's
He
like
was the
it's like
master.
big businesses. The boss gets the credit, but all the people that are under them making all the decisions, buying the stock, doing the heavy lifting are the ones that really should be getting the
And
credit.
there's a reason the Yankees fired Buck Showalter in 1995 when they finally got to the postseason. So again, the idea of the retread Buck, that was going to be a terrible idea. The Mets should have seen that coming a mile away.
He does do well in the first couple seasons, though.
Of course he does, because you know what happens? He teaches fundamentals. And when you're playing good fundamental baseball, things are going to get a little bit better. The problem is are you talented enough? Are you good enough to take it next level? And they're not. And neither was Baltimore, and neither was Texas when he was there. That's what Buck keeps running into, is he can get you to play better baseball because he's pushing fundamentals. He wants you to play clean.
The next level.
Getting over the hump, that's where you need the Joe Torre to come in.
It is fascinating that a year ago, people in Queens absolutely adored Buck Showalter. Now they want his head and get him out.
Think about where we were.
They want him out.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, Teddy, a year ago, I was on here trying to figure out what the right second half for the Yankees was going to be. We ended up nailing it almost to a T, wins and losses. I remember saying, like, they need to play 650 in the second half. You know, it's going to be tough. Here's what the record has to be. And then they went out and they did that. I don't know if this team's got enough firepower. And again, because of how good Baltimore and Toronto and Tampa are, Boston's right up your butt. You mentioned Texas. The Angels are quickly finding their way to irrelevancy, which is nice. But Houston's still a good team.
Seattle maybe getting hot. I mean,
Seattle, right?
Underperformed. Listen, they're a team that's underperformed. They made the playoffs. They could be a team. Listen, you know this. In one good week in baseball, 7-3, you go from 3 games behind to 1 game up. So, and that's all it takes. Really, it's one good week. We saw it with the Yankees.
One week they could go 6-0. The next week
they play great baseball. And we're like, oh my God, this team's we're coming for the crown. And
let's hope that they start off and get off to 10 games over 500, because they go to Colorado, who's been awful. But I won't get my hopes up because they did just struggle in Oakland too.
Sure, but what a great opportunity that's ahead of this team. Where you should be able to go out there and get 3 good wins, and get the second half started right. You're going to have, and again, like you just said, you can't lose to the Cubs. You can't lose a series to the Cubs. You can't lose a series to the Cardinals. They've got to win series, especially against bad teams.
They're losing by 14-1.
Yes, embarrassing losses to teams that are not very competitive. Again, to me, that speaks to management. I don't think they're going to fire Boone in season, but I think the firing of Lawton spoke very much to the fact that they think these guys need different voices in that dugout.
I just think he was a scapegoat.
Right. So
sure, but listen,
bigger
when the season ends, ultimately one guy's going to be held accountable in that locker room. And it's not going to be Brian Cashman, because it never is. It's going to fall on Aaron Boone. And if this team fails, and now listen, if they keep it close, it goes right down to the wire. Maybe they miss it by a game. Again, Judge wasn't around, Rodon, whatever. Like Ted said, but if this team fails, I mean, miserably fails, and they finish 5 or 6 games out, maybe by the middle of September, it's over. He's out when the season's done. He will be out by October the 1st. He'll be a goner.
Trev,
so
what's up?
This team does have to make the postseason or be damn close, or I think Aaron Boone ultimately will be the final scapegoat. And then you start anew. Cashman doesn't care.
Ted's about to go like Krakatoa right now. He's ready.
I was just going to say, I agree on that part. I was going to make 2 statements. I was going to feed off of Joe's and just kind of put a little exclamation point is, if Judge doesn't come back or doesn't come back till late September and they miss out, they'll use that as an excuse of why they didn't make the playoffs, especially if they're close. So that would be a reason why they would hold on to Boone. Doesn't mean they'll make ultimate decisions and big changes in this team. But I think that would be the excuse to hold Boone. And I do agree with Joe. If they fail miserably and whatnot, then I think managerial change of mouth, change of voice, change of anything, scenery would be good. Now, and all I was going to finish off was this. If you look at the rest of July, right, the rest of the second half of the season, They have 3 at Colorado. Should be winnable games. It's Rodon, Schmidt, and Cole going to pitch the 3 games.
No, those
should
are
win
winnable
those 3,
games.
but there's no such thing as winning in baseball. Then you're at the Angels. Big series. Like to take another 2 out of 3 right there. Then you're home at 3 against Kansas City. And then you got 2 against the Mets, and then you finish off with 3 the last month of this season, or the month of July, and against Baltimore. But you're looking at it. I said the Rockies. I said the Angels. I said Kansas City, and I said the Mets. If you can't take care of business the month of July, you'll know when we have a conversation August 1st.
Yep.
That if this Yankee team is going to make a run or they're going to, like, I mean, when I say
don't forget, that's the trade deadline.
They'll make a splash by August 1st, or they won't be making a splash, and this team won't make it. Because if you can't take 2 or 3 out of against Kansas City and the Royals and the Rockies, at least 2 out of 3. You got to win a series. That's what the guys always talk about. Win a series. 2 out of 3. That's 660 baseball. Win 2 out of 3 every series. Take care of the Mets. Put them out of their misery. We'll see what happens. Because then August starts. It goes to Tampa. And then you know it's going to be a Tampa, Boston, Baltimore, Toronto the last month of the way. So
we're done.
I think we'll know. I think we'll have our answers by August 1st.
So the Mets their season looks like is a lost season, a failed season. The Yankees are still in question. I'm still sticking to they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to get to the wild card. Doesn't mean they're going to go past that. But speaking of,
I'll tell you one thing. They better get together in July because go look at their August schedule. Good luck. You want to know what their August schedule is?
Nope, because it's not August.
Tampa, Houston, Chicago, Atlanta, Miami Marlins. All top teams. So if you can't figure it out by August 1st,
who? Chicago who? Chicago Cubs or White Sox? White Sox are one of the worst teams in baseball. What are you talking about?
Ask the Yankees. How'd the Yankees do against them last time?
Well, they stink against everybody right now. So speaking of all those disappointments, it looks like Joe wanted to say something quickly.
I think the Yankees have to win between 42 and 44 games in the second half, which means losing roughly 26 times in the second half. So
they're going to be like plus 14. They're going to be like plus 14 wins.
They're going to have, I mean, again, you're talking about probably 650, 675 baseball the whole second half.
No, that's like 2 out of 3 every series.
That's 2 out of 3 going the whole rest of the way. And again, to me, the question mark is going to be, and I said this last time, Trev, if Rodon can really be a number 2 guy, he looked great in that first start.
Yeah.
You might be able to pull this off. Again, you get Nestor back. I know he just started throwing again. Maybe he's back in a couple weeks. Obviously, that 5.63 or whatever it is, you got to get a handle on that. Severino, if they can get him straightened out, it would be great. Herman, as Teddy pointed out, a couple of decent starts. You know, he's wildly inconsistent, kind of always has been. Again, he's AJ Burnett. You're either going to get brilliance or you're going to get an absolute disaster. That's pretty much all this guy gives you. And again, his last 2 good starts were he was nearly unhittable. And the one start that wasn't good, he got lit up. I mean, he gave up 9 hits in 4 innings after having not given up any hits in 9 innings. I said to you the other night, I texted you, I was like, he couldn't be any more hittable tonight.
Yeah.
For a guy who do a perfect game to come back and give up 9 hits in 4 innings, it's like, dude, whatever you were doing last time, go back to that.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, this team, I'm just afraid that they don't have reinforcements coming. And again, maybe a Cody Bellinger would be a nice pickup, but what are you trading for him? And I still insist that Esteban Florial, that's been a huge mistake. I read in all these threads, every time they bring him up, he doesn't hit. Well, they also don't play him. So how is he going to hit if he's not playing every day? He can't.
Let's finish.
I mean, foolish on this team's part. And I read a great article, by the way, today. I forget who it even came from, but they talked about the failure of the baby bombers, talking Sanchez, talking Torres, everybody but Aaron Judge from that group.
Yeah.
And you keep alluding to the 17, 18 Yankees where we thought, wow, we did that fastest rebuild. None of those guys are performing the way they should. And this team continues to not get the best out of people. You look at Jose Trevino is another great example to me. This guy was an all-star a year ago, playing out of his mind. He's awful. He's been terrible this year. Defensively, offensively, he's been awful. Obviously, you know, you could pick out the Stantons and the Donaldsons and LeMahieu. I think in the case, by the way, of LeMahieu and Rizzo, there's foot injuries involved here.
Mm-hmm.
And these two guys they're not healthy. They're not right. This is one of those things where when a guy plays through the injury, we're not going to cut him a break for hitting $150 because you're there. You got to be hitting. And this is, especially in the case of DJ, can't push off that front foot. It's really given him problems, and it's why he's been so terrible. Rizzo, obviously, before the injury, he said without the shift, he was hitting 310.
Yeah.
He looked great, got hurt, and he has not been right since. I think that's injury. Maybe these few days will help both of those guys get right. But again, Gleyber Torres shouldn't be a major league second baseman. He has no business being in any infield on any of the 30 teams in Major League Baseball. He's terrible. Even when he makes a nice play, it still isn't the right way you're supposed to do it. He fundamentally is a terrible second baseman. And anytime you take DJ LeMahieu off of second base to put him, I know he's a super utility guy, you're taking a Gold Glove winner off of second base, and whatever you put in his place is awful. It's not a Gold Glove worthy thing. You're taking a Gold Glove second baseman and you're playing him at third. He'll be fine. You don't know that. That's not true. He won't be fine. If he had to play third base every day for the rest of the season, by season's end, we'd be like, DJ sucks at third. Yes, because he's not a natural third baseman. He's a second baseman, a Gold Glove winning one. So this insistence that Gleyber should be at second, LeMahieu could play a little third, a little first. Shut up with that idiotic nonsense. When are people going to, again, look at the Padres. You got 6 of the 9 guys playing out of position, and people are like, why is San Diego terrible? I don't know. Could it be 6 of the 9 guys are playing out of position? It's hard playing defense in Major League Baseball. People don't understand that. Well, he plays right field. Why can't he play left? Because everything's backwards. That's why. That's why. Because he practices in right field, and you stick him in left, and you're like, wow, why isn't he running everything down? That's not how this works. That's why.
I think we just had a personal record of Joe beating the amount of minutes, beating Ted for the longest time talking straight without anybody saying anything. So this is a breakthrough day. Quickly before we finish, because it is the halfway point. Other than the Mets, who do you think is the biggest disappointment? And quick, give me one team. Give me one team. Yeah, give me one team each. And then how about a surprise? Who would you say? Because there's a hell of a lot of surprises right now.
Padres are my disappointment other than the Mets. And the Mets are easy to pick on. I could say the Cardinals too, but I mean the Padres. I just figured with Soto and Bogarts and Tatis coming back and Blake Snell and Musgrave and they brought in Hader and I'm like and this and that and I'm like and they had the playoffs last year and they beat the Dodgers and I don't know. Go ahead, Joe. I feel like
the Anaheim Angels. They've got the 2 best players on the planet, and they still suck.
No, they don't. Aaron Judge is not playing.
Got off to a great start. And they still follow the way
they got hurt. Rendon's been hurt. That's been
but listen, everybody deals with injuries. Everybody deals with inconsistent pitching and bloppity blop, bitty bloppity blop. It's the same thing now, 6 years in a row with the Angels.
Now you know why Cole didn't pick the Angels over.
There you go.
Thank you.
But to me, again, they got off to such a great start, and everybody's like, yeah, they're probably going to make the playoffs. No, they're not. It's still not going to work out. The 2 best players on the planet, the award winner, the ESPY award winner. I'm sure Trout's got a bunch of those trophies, and it gets them dick is what it gets them. So another lousy season for Anaheim. Trade Ohtani to the Yankees now. Do it.
There we go.
Just do it. It's where he wants to be.
Who's the biggest surprise to you?
Diamondbacks.
The Brewers.
Really? You think the Brewers?
Yes. Oh, dude, I think the Brewers are probably going to win the National League.
Or the Brewers or
the Brewers? They're not beating the Braves.
Oh, I think they will.
No.
I think they will.
The Braves are nasty right now.
The Braves are definitely nasty. The Brewers are a grindy team. They've been knocking on the door the last couple of years. I think their pitching, assuming they get Brandon Woodruff back, their pitching is as good, maybe better than Atlanta's.
Nah, I don't know about that because Max Fried hasn't pitched all season. Neither is Kyle Wright, and they're both
Believe
coming
me.
off. And they'll be
Max
both.
Fried's on my fantasy teams.
Yes,
I'm waiting. Don't you
I
sweat
know.
it.
And Kyle Wright, it'll be coming back too. And they won 60 games. They've hit 26
I don't
home
know.
runs straight in a game.
They're very good, but they're winning a lot. They're scoring a lot.
They have the best player. They have the best player in the NL.
He's pretty good. He's pretty
Acuna.
good. Yeah. Again,
Listen, their whole offensive
nerd.
Their whole infield.
Yeah, you are.
All-Star
Bullshit. You're such a
Their whole
liar.
team made the All-Star
And
game.
did you hear what Joe? You just said you're not a stat nerd. Joe, you use
I'm lying.
freaking
No, I
baseball
know.
reference for every. Remember
Oh,
your
dude,
Gary
yeah.
Sanchez
Listen,
argument?
Joe, if anyone
Ronald
should
Acuna
be-
Jr. This guy may end up having the greatest season of all time.
Yeah, he's
And what is he?
He's-
24 for crying out loud? Jesus.
But yeah, no, I'd say the Reds or the Diamondbacks for the.
How about does anybody see what the Marlins are doing? If it wasn't for the
bro.
they're 14 games over 500. The Texas Rangers,
53-39.
they're 13. Both teams. Good for them. They've been awful for some time, and both teams are probably going to make the playoffs.
The Reds.
Why can't the Yankees find a guy like Ellie De La Cruz? That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, we have one in the minor leagues. His name is Esteban Florial, and we never gave him a shot. We have another guy named Jason Dominguez, and we're going to sit on him for the next 5 years, too, until he's also irrelevant. Again, listen, Juan Soto was a talented prospect, right?
Ted, he's going off on a rant.
I'm saying he was a talented prospect, and they were like, hey, let's see how this kid does. And he turned into a superstar. Ronald Acuna Jr. Same, was he 19 when they brought him up? Same thing. Let's see what this kid's got. You let him play, they either sink or swim. We don't do that. We bring you up to the Major League roster for 4 days, and we don't ever play you, and we're like, no, he doesn't hit.
Look at all the great players. Harper.
Cruz for the Pirates.
You got to bring the young guys up and let them sink or swim.
Shortstop
If
for the
they
Pirates,
stink, then they were no good.
No, what's his name? His name is
O'Neal
Cruz.
Cruz. Is it?
O'Neal Cruz.
O'Neal
But
Cruz.
he's
But
out.
he's
He was
been-
out for the year
Yeah,
this
he's been
year.
hurt.
Was Ted trying? What are you trying to show off your pipes or something with your guns or something?
No, I'm just waiting for you to finish, bro.
Joe was the one that had the floor. I wasn't saying anything.
All right, I'm done. I got nothing else. I've said all I need to say.
Does anybody got a change World Series?
Yeah, I'll see you next Tuesday when we talk about if Saquon got signed by the Giants or if he's going to sit out for the season.
We are 6 days away. Either he's going to be playing under a $10 million franchise tag, he's going to be extended for the Giants' future, or he will be sitting out and pulling a Le'Veon Bell. I wouldn't do that, Saquon.
I think they're going to pony up.
No,
I have a feeling they're going to pony up on this guy. 4-year deal for like.
They did on Daniel Jones.
Do you guys have a change? Well, he wanted 47. He settled for 40. So
I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a minute. I don't think that guy would have had the balls to walk into Joe Shane's office and be like, I want $47 million. That's how good I am. I don't believe that. I think the Giants offered that deal at the $40 million because that's what quarterbacks are getting.
That's the average now.
I don't think that dude went in there making any sort of demands. I don't buy that for a minute. And if that's true, then he's completely delusional, and the Giants are going to go 2-15 this year.
Wow.
I don't believe any of that because I don't believe that that's true. I also read a comment yesterday on Threads, that new social media site, where there's a comment from Daniel Jones. It says, I don't think minorities should be allowed to vote.
I saw that.
I think you sent that to me. Yeah, it's a fake.
What? Oh, of course
it's a fake. I think that's more real though than him asking for $47 million.
Damn, Joe. Is that how highly we think of our quarterback?
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
What?
I think you mean asking for $47 million.
Yes, $47 million, Ted. I'm gonna
that's what I meant. $47 million. He's out of his mind. I thought he was out of his mind when he asked for $40 million.
Again, I don't think he asked for 40. I just think that's the market value.
No, Joe, I think
quarterback.
I think he did because when you go into negotiations, you ask for the moon or the stars, and you settle somewhere. So if he said, "Give me 47," the Giants are like at 35. They met at 40.
If that guy came into my office and said, "I want $47 million," I'd have been like, "I'll give you $47 million for 5 years."
But also don't no, not for 5
Spread
years.
out over that time, $9 million a year. That's about all you're worth.
Listen, his agent's always going to do their due diligence, try to make as much. I mean, listen, Derek Carr
must have the best
don't
agent in sports.
Don't forget he left his old agency and went to a new one. Athletes First.
Yes, he did well.
He did well. I know New York fans are just drooling for football season because right now it has not been pretty in the Big Apple. Right
93 days until hockey season starts.
9 Sundays until Dallas and the New York Giants start off. God, can we go 1-0? Can we start 1-0?
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Bye, guys.
I love how we start. We got to hold on, Ted. We're leaving, Ted. I promise.
Trevor,
I love how we. I
go.
know, Ted. I know you got a time limit. I love how we got to say it would be amazing if we could beat Dallas. It's been just that long. Ladies and gentlemen, we are Keys to the City. Enjoy the All-Star game tonight. It should be fun. Can't wait for it. And we'll be back next week talking Saquon Barkley. We are Keys to the City. Check us out on all social media platforms. We are out.